So this is where I film the videos, and you might have noticed that something has changed recently, you know, on the main set. But where do we actually edit the videos? Because this doesn't happen in here, and I'd like to show you how we're doing it. This is one of my favorite videos to watch what other creators are making. Just seeing the way they use certain things behind the scenes and what tech they actually use and how they have come to a certain solution or how they've used the room space. It's very interesting to me. So in this video, you're gonna see how our videos are edited, where and how. This part of the video is brought to you by Thermal Grizzly. Improve your CPU and GPU cooling with their Cryonaut thermal pastes, or the Cryonaut Extreme for the extreme overclockers. If you're on the Intel LGA 1700 platform, check out their contact frame that prevents CPU bending. And for the curious PC enthusiast, you might want to check out the WireView Pro. For all your high performance cooling solutions, check out Thermal Grizzly in the video description below. By the way, if you're interested in any of the things that I'm talking about over here, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. And if there's something that you can see in the video that I haven't mentioned in this video, then leave a comment and I'll try to answer this and at least let you know what this is so you can go and find it yourself. So this is a very, very small room. This is 2 by 2 meters. This desk behind me, this wooden top here, is exactly 202, I think, centimeters, and there's literally an inch from both sides here. And there are 2 editors, because if I move a little bit this way, you can see that there is another chair. And let's start with the chair, because I've gone through a few of them like in the last couple of years and trying to find the best one that actually fits the needs and what's the best and so on. Firstly, this one, what I have here is a Flexi Spot chair. I believe this is, I don't know, C7, something like that. I can't remember the name for this. This has a very, very small footprint. So if I'm sitting down, I can have another chair next to it, for example, over here. So the main editor is working here on this side of this. We're going to talk about the specs and everything in a minute, but this is a very nice chair that we've had. But recently, I'm not sure if you knew this, Fractal has actually also started to make chairs. They sent me this Fractal Refine because we didn't have a chair for the editor. So this is the second editor, right? The plan was that I'm gonna get this one for my main chair. But if you remember, the chair that I've been using in the old setup was this nice kind of light white themed as well. That one completely broke because it was the same, like a mesh kind of a style on the side here, but it actually absolutely snaps here. So I used to sit on just the frame of the chair and then put like a pillow on top of it. It was horrendous. When Fractal sent this one, I thought, okay, I'm gonna use this for the main one, but then we didn't have one for the editor, so I let him use this one first. This is one of the nicest chairs I have ever come across. There's 2 versions. There's like a mesh and a fabric version. The mesh was so nice that I actually bought for myself on the main setup over there. I've got the fabric version of this. Now, this is not the cheapest chair, but this is like one of those things that you sit on every single day for hours and hours. It's something that you cannot not use. And I thought, okay, it's good to have something good for it. And I'm absolutely loving this. But I've got to say, I find that the mesh version a little bit better than the actual fabric version. The mesh version somehow feels a little bit more kind of supporting better my back, and it breathes a little bit more. So obviously the air goes through because there's no cushion underneath. It goes through it. I'm loving this. It's got very soft on the side, like all 3D, 4D, everything on the sides moves. The back moves as well. The one that's on the top here, no joke, the best chair I've ever used, and that's why I actually bought another one for myself, because it was so good. Because we have a second editor here now as well. We've got another desk here. So this is, I believe, 120 centimeters desk, what I have here. And this is from FlexiSpot as well. And I'm using the FlexiSpot for my main setup there. It's very nice. I like the way that the buttons work. You can actually lock it and memorize it. And FlexiSpot always sends me emails saying like, oh, can we check out the new table? Can we check out the new table? And I've always thought, you know, how much is it gonna change on a table? But I have some of the like earlier versions of the desk from like years ago. And what has changed is actually a few very nice things. So when we were setting this up here, I realized that the cable management is much nicer. There's actually a cable shroud on the back there as well that actually helps you to just put lots of cables in there and hide the clutter, so it's less like things falling down. Because if you can see underneath there, I'm not sure if you can see, there's so much cables and there's such a big mess on this table because this doesn't have any like cable management underneath. So you just have to screw or zip tie or something like that. I haven't had time for that, so we've kind of just thrown things in there. The OCD in me wants to fix it, but in practice, I kind of don't have time for this, and we'll see what happens, but that's that. But on this new FlexiSpot here, this is so different. There is the cable management, there's only a few cables coming down. And I actually got the version that has also an extension cable that also goes underneath the desk. So you can buy like some accessories, but this is a cool one because now the actual desk, I don't need to plug it into the wall, but I can plug it into the extension. The extension allows me to have like the monitor and the PC here actually plugged in. There's few USB ports there as well. So all the charging and like all the desk power gets from the one extension that you can just screw onto the desk, and it's hidden underneath. So I'm loving this a lot. The way you also hide the main cables for the motors and all the sensors, there's like a nice magnetic fabric that just clips on, which is really nice. I'm absolutely loving that desk. If you want to check it out, I'll leave the link in the description below. Let's talk about the PCs and actual setup, because I'm reviewing a lot of the stuff, but what am I actually using behind the scenes? We are rocking the ProArt P602 case, and I believe you remember we swapped to this one after all of our ProArt motherboard drama and all of that, and I am absolutely loving this case. Like, this case is so quiet, such good with airflow. It is big, but everything that this can do is absolutely amazing. I can see it's dusty. I need to get this cleaned. In terms of specs for this PC, we're running the 13900K. We've got 128 gigabytes of RAM, DDR5. This is the T-Create one. We've got ProArt Z790 motherboard. We've got RTX 4090 from MSI. This is the Gaming X GPU. It's been so solid. It's absolutely amazing. We've got, I believe it's a Be Quiet power supply, 80 plus platinum titanium, something like that. I'll leave the links in the description below if you want to check that out, or how we built that one as well. The reason why we have the Z790 ProArt and, you know, some of the parts is because what's happening behind here. So here's a few of the NASs. Okay, I've got 3 in here, but the way this is possible to link these two rooms together is because there is a LAN cable, Cat6, that goes through the walls to the other room, which means that I can actually access all of these from that room with my PC with no delay and get the best performance. One of the key editing elements is the QNAP NVMe NAS, the 5-bay one, and I've done 3 months later with this. I've done a review of this. If you haven't checked that out, check it out on the channel. But why this is so special is it's got 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, and as you can see, one of the editors is connected through Thunderbolt 4. I mean, that's a little bit of flimsy here that this cable is just kind of hanging in the air in here, but this PC here is connected to Thunderbolt 4. I'll talk about that in a minute, to that NAS, and so is this ProArt Z790. So that has Thunderbolt 4 ports in the back and 10 gigabit. So we're getting also 10 gigabit on the QNAP on the back, which is connected to the switch in there. So I've got a 10 gigabit switch in this room, but they get Thunderbolt 4 in this room to get the best kind of a bandwidth and access to the fast editing. And then when I'm reviewing footage or ingesting new projects in that room, I still get 10 gigabits in speed through the back of this QNAP NAS, which is like the best of both worlds. But then we've got some more archival kind of and B-roll NAS and storage on these different ASUS drives. We've got the 6-bay Locker Store 2. I believe ASUS is coming up with the new ones, and I can't wait to check them out. Then we've got the 4-bay version as well, and then I've got an extension for the 4-bay, so then I can actually get like 8 bays for the 4-bay. The 6-bay has 10 gigabit that we upgraded. I'm not sure if you remember that video. We upgraded that to 10 gigabit NIC in the back as well. But the Locker Store 4 is 2.5 gigabit, and I also got a 2.5 gigabit switch in there, so I'm not taking up all the, you know, fast ports of the 10 gigabit switch. So all the slower ones can go into the 2.5, and then the fast ones that can support 10 gigabit go into there. In terms of monitor setup here, I believe this is single-handedly the best video editing setup that you can have. And it's funny, I haven't seen many people use a setup like that. They have like two monitors side by side, or one monitor and then one monitor there, or one extra wide, or then one on the top, and it doesn't make sense to me. I've ran this like for years now, and I think this is the best. But in this case, you have one 32-inch right in the middle where you're doing the editing. This used to be my BenQ PD3200U, if I remember this correctly. After, what is it, 5 years or maybe more, something happened to the screen, and I'm not sure if this was a cable or something like that. I didn't have time to check because we were moving as well. And since we were moving, I put the ProArt that we used for the Inception build. Do you remember the Inception build? This is a little bit of a faulty version. It's got a little bit of a background bleed. It's been like going around different medias all around the world, or UK or Europe or whatever. So it's a little bit damaged. So I think I might be able to still use it. This is not an OLED one. This is an LCD IPS panel, but it's very color accurate. It goes very bright and it's super nice colors. So we're using this as the main one. So this is the color accurate where we can do the colors on, and is like the flagship kind of a screen. But often people need to buy 2 or 3 or whatever. It's like waste of money. On the sides, I've got the cheapest stuff I have found on Amazon. These are some Samsung random 24-inch screens that were like, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds, dollars, wherever you're watching this from. It really doesn't matter which models you have on the side, because I want the screen real estate. I don't need these to be color accurate. All I want these to do is have all my bins on that side, so I can see the files and effects and things like that are happening on this side. I'll move the chair a little bit out of the way so we can see this. Then we're doing the main editing in the middle part, obviously. And then on this side, I have another bit where we have maybe some browsers open, or in here we have Lumetri Color. So everything's laid out. I think this is the best setup. Obviously, if you are looking very, very close, you can see us use the Logitech MX Master MX3S. This is the mouse. And then as you see on this side, we've got another one, the white one, the best mouse you can have for your editing. This is the Logitech Craft. It's a little bit overpriced keyboard. I think mine is the faulty version. The battery is like dead on this, so this has to be constantly plugged in. Never use the Craft wheel. Thought I would, never do. On this side, the keyboard is just the Montech one. I'm not sure if you remember where or which video we did that one. It's like a mechanical keyboard just for this one. I'd love to have MX keys on this side as well, but we'll see if Logitech wants to sponsor some videos. In terms of speakers, we've been using the same Edify speaker for years. This is just when we're watching back some of the footage or talking about it, discussing some of the edit, we can actually hear it out loud. It goes onto the Focusrite Scarlett 2i1. So we can adjust the speaker volume and then the headphone volume separately if you want it on your headphones, if you want it through the speakers. On this side, what PC is this one? This is the Fractal Terra build. If you remember, I did that one. This is a small one, except it's got a little addition, which is this insane Noctua NHD15G2 cooler that is sticking out from the side. Loads. So I kind of upgraded to this one. This is the 14700K with 32 gigabytes of RAM, very, very fast, but we can see that the 32 gigabytes is not really enough what we're doing here. 64 is like the minimum that we need. This is just kind of like what I had built, and I didn't have to build another one. So we're going to be building another one into this one, but for now, this will do. And this is like been doing the editing for a couple of weeks now here, and it's really, really good. The GPU in here is the Asus ProArt RTX 4080 Super. And the amazing thing about this is like one of the only GPUs that actually fits in this PC case. And if you noticed, I have built kind of this shelf on the top of this because we're very limited in space. Welcome to UK. I've got all the GPUs and motherboards that are on the top there that we still need to test, and now when the 50 series comes out of different motherboards and builds, so this is where different motherboards and builds are coming out. We've got NVIDIA over there, we've got AMD on this side, then we've got AMD motherboards in there, Intel motherboards. In the back we've got some old AMD motherboards that are AM4 motherboards and so on. And then on this side we have Threadripper motherboards and stuff that are going on in there. And this is how we are editing videos. I think the takeaway for you, for me, for people who are watching this video is that you don't need a massive space to get things done. You can have a very, very small space. I mean, big space is obviously nice if you can have it, and it looks like in certain parts of the world it's a little bit easier, but where I am, I'm very limited in the space. Also, one last thing I want to mention is I was looking for 10 gigabit switches, unmanaged switches that have maybe 8 ports, and interestingly it's quite hard to find. So I asked Robbie from NAS Compares, thanks Robbie for recommending this. On the other side of that wall, you know, where I'm actually editing the videos in the other room, there is a NIC Giga. Feels a little bit racist to say that, but there is the 10 gigabit switch in there, 8 port, and it's been absolutely amazing. In some ways even better than the Netgear one that I have there, because the NIC Giga is smaller and quieter in terms of fans. I'm super excited about that one as well. And it's 3 or 4 times cheaper than the Netgear one. So far, it's working great. If you have any tips for me how to improve this, or if you see anything you're thinking, well, that's not how this should be, then let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Thanks guys for watching. Bye-bye.